You have arrived at Laughbox, the podcast for the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor. We are so excited you're here.
Welcome to Laughbox, the official podcast of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. I'm Jim Bob Williams.
And I'm Katie B.
And today we're talking with someone who makes you realize how little you've accomplished with your own life. We're talking about author, filmmaker, professor, Chris Palmer. Chris, welcome to Laughbox.
Thank you, Jim Bob. Thank you, Katie. Great to be here.
So glad to have you.
All right. Okay. I looked at your biography, immensely impressed here. I hadn't realized I had seen some of your film work before. All we knew about each other was from Humor Zoomers and a couple of other Zoom calls here. Tell us about your journey. How did you discover therapeutic humor? And tell us a lot about some of your life leading to here.
My father was a very strict naval officer, a martinet. And if we got out of line, he would whack us. But one thing I noticed about him is he kept a commonplace book. That's a term that our viewers may not be familiar with. But in the old days, people used to keep a commonplace book where they would write down things they wanted to remember. And I noticed in looking at his commonplace book, there were a lot of jokes. And I realized that behind this exterior of this very fierce, strict guy who I loved was someone who valued humor. And that was a revelation to me as a young person. And so I started doing the same thing and started collecting humor. And every time I came across something funny, I would write it down and love it. And I wasn't a funny guy. My twin brother was a funny guy. And in fact, I think part of me wanting to be funny was competing with him. It came to him naturally. To me, I'm a serious person instinctively. I started collecting humor, and now I have a mammoth file of funny things that make me laugh. And I got in my library here, I've got probably 200 books on humor. And then later on, I became a stand-up comic for 5 years, and I gave a lot of speeches. I use humor a lot. And now I'm writing a book on humor and laughter. It'll be published by Bloomsbury. Maybe it'll take me 2 years to write. So anyway, that's part of my journey.
I have to just a sec, Jim Bob. It came up, and it's very important. I also have a twin who is way funnier than me. I strive to be as funny as he is. And I can absolutely 100% relate to what you just said. So I just had to say.
So Katie, you and I need to go to therapy together.
Yes, for sure. Okay, Jim, I'm sorry to interrupt.
All right. So basically, your humor journey is self-study.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've never taken classes in it. No, it's self-study. Is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah, I'm in humor. I am an autodidact like Abraham Lincoln. Yep.
All right. I love that. But you also have a strong sense of the environment.
Yes. My first 2 degrees were in mechanical engineering and naval architecture and ocean engineering. And I was set to be in the Navy following my father. And I suddenly realized that military issues had very little interest for me. And I got a scholarship. I came to America to study at Harvard, started studying economics, and I moved. And I said to myself, what do I want to do with my life? And I didn't want to design warships killing people. And I decided to do is to devote my life to environmental protection, to conservation. So yeah, that's what I did. And then I got into filmmaking and all about conservation and wildlife films. Yeah, that's I'm not sure I answered your question, Jim Bob, but okay. Yeah.
All right. So I need to digress again just for a second. So do you know Jack Hanna?
Oh, yeah. Very well.
Yeah. So my brother-in-law worked for Jack Hanna.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Katie, we have a lot of interconnecting life stories here.
Yeah. I married a Brit, but I had to send him back.
Oh, you married a Brit. Big mistake.
That's what everybody tells me.
If I had known you before you were married, I would have put a big warning sign. Do not marry a Brit. And you only have to ask my wife, and she would agree. She would agree, you know. But no, actually, my wife and I have been married almost 50 years, so we've been lucky.
Beautiful.
But yeah, but it's not. It's more than Brits. Just men. Men in general are not worth marrying. Stay away from them. They're immature and pathetic.
Okay, so let's see if that leads to a segue to Jim Bob's next question.
All right. Okay. I'm just like enjoying watching the Venn diagrams fall all over each other today, isn't it? My father is a Navy man, but he was a chief petty officer in the U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
Also loved humor.
Yeah.
Also would write down things that he found funny.
Yeah.
And he worked for the New York Aquarium in Brooklyn.
Really? Oh.
And so I was exposed to ecology and environmental issues early on.
Yeah. Sounds like you had a great dad.
He was an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Amazing guy.
Yeah. And those chief petty officers, I remember them vividly from my 7 years in the British Navy. Some of them are so funny. Oh my God. They're just wonderful just to listen to them. So I bet your dad was like that.
Yeah. Very different perspective on the world.
Well, the only sad thing is he worked for the American Navy, which of course is not nearly as good as the British Navy. But apart from that, it's
all right. Now, one question I have is you've got such a broad range of books. You've got a book on what it's like to go through open heart surgery, a book that you dedicated to your daughters, a book on death and dying. How do you? Most people have trouble coming up with one idea for a book. Okay. You've got a number published. You've got one coming out in October. You've got another one coming out next year on humor. So tell us about your writing process.
I was never a good writer, and I had to work hard on it. It's like humor. I had to really work hard on it. And it wasn't until I was about 60. I'm now 76. And it wasn't until about 60 I started writing seriously and struggled. My first book took me 10, 15 years to write. And then since then, I've just taken off. I just love it. And now I'm a full-time writer. I write full-time. And my 10th book is coming out, as you said, on October the 1st. That's on death, achieving a good death. But I've written on a variety of topics. And it's just fulfilling a childhood dream. I remember when I was a teenager going to bookstores. I grew up in Bath in the West Country in England. And I used to go into bookstores and just so admiring, how do these people do this? And I used to collect books, buy books prolifically. And I've got a large library here. And I always wanted to be a writer. And then got to 60 and started taking it seriously. I realized I had a story to tell because I was very much into ethics of wildlife filmmaking. And I was disgusted by how wildlife filmmakers like myself mistreated animals to get the shot and misled audiences, for example, using trained animals and pretending they were wild, things like this. So my book was very much an attack on the wildlife filmmaking industry and was for that reason very controversial. Jay Leno joked about my book one night on his show, but I leave in the book with some humor. And then since then, I'm very interested in parenting. I wrote a book on parenting, very interested in how you lead a good life. So I wrote a book about that. Then I'm very interested in how a person finds meaning and purpose in life, and I've always struggled with that. And so I wrote a book called Finding Meaning and Purpose. And then I became very interested in death, and I become an end-of-life activist and serve on 8 non-profit boards, including Final Exit, Next Work, and Exit, and others. And so I wrote a book about that. I tend to write about what things I obsess about. I obsess about tennis, but have not yet written a book about tennis.
Okay, we can do that after humor if you'd like.
Sure. What's the title going to be of your humor book?
I don't know yet. Tentatively, something like using humor to find truth, because the theme of the book is, at least I hope to, I'm still working on this, but I hope the theme of the book will be how humor is an incredible way of revealing wisdom and truth and insight and sagacity and in ways which are stronger than more straightforward ways of revealing those things. But whether I can make a book of that, I may have to change that theme, but that's what I'm working on. Humor as enlightenment. And
a lovely humor. Yes, I have a YouTube channel, and it's in a nonprofit called Joy First Foundation. And then I'm a joy activation coach is my thing on YouTube. So I love yoga, laughter yoga, meditation, and discussion of how humor and laughter help us raise our vibration.
Yeah.
And I've come to believe I can be pretty woo, so maybe I won't go all the way there, but I believe that laughter takes us to a place of coping through chemicals and science, right? What we've seen, but it also gives us more because if we can stay up here with laughter, with humor, with all of that, life is more heavenly, let's say. When we come back down, we work on trying to get back up. And I see it in relationship to almost a consciousness shift.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Speaking of Venn diagrams, I want to ask how humor intersects with some of the material that you've written here. Okay,
Well,
for example, when you wrote achieve, what role does humor play in achieving a good death?
oh, I'm a hospice volunteer. And one thing I've learned from hospice nurses is that people tend to have a better death when they have a better life. And so if you live your life in a good way with strong relationships, with putting your life behind a cause, and I would say that fostering humor is a wonderful cause. If you do those things and are a good, decent person, and all those things too, then you are more likely to die surrounded by your loved ones and feeling you have completed your life in a good way. So humor, I think, interacts with a good death in that if you have a good sense of humor and if you value humor in others, then you are more likely to have a better end of life.
That's phenomenal. Oh, okay. So tell us a little about open heart surgery.
I am an extremely fit and healthy person. Oh my gosh. I've been on a plant-based diet, unprocessed whole food plant for about 5 decades. I swim and play tennis almost every day. I stand on my hands. And yet, because of my mother, I have heart disease. My mother died of heart disease. I inherited from her. My 3 brothers, including my twin, all died of heart disease and in great pain. And I have heart disease. And 2 years ago, I was playing tennis. I found I had this pain in my chest. Went to the cardiologist, had a test, blah, blah, blah. He said, you've got to have open heart surgery. So I had open heart surgery. I wrote that book about it that you mentioned. I wrote that with my daughter, one of my daughters, who's a doctor. And so that's it. That's it, Jim Bob. As simple as that. But again, I think humor is, as we know from Norman Cousins, is a
Yes.
very good, very helpful way of helping to heal illness. So I would, yeah,
I'm sorry about your siblings
yeah,
and
yeah,
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 and your
yeah,
dad.
yeah. The only reason I'm alive now is because of my lifestyle choices. Others, I'd be dead like they are. But yeah, my
Sorry.
mom, yeah, no problem. And my father died of prostate cancer, and I got prostate cancer from him. So
Oh,
about 2.5 years ago, I had a prostatectomy. This after a life of incredible health and
yeah.
good, and never been to hospital in my life. And suddenly, within 6 months, I had a prostatectomy, my prostate out, and I had open heart surgery.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. And another Venn diagram, Jim Bob.
yes, because I'm a prostate cancer patient myself.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Currently undergoing active surveillance, keeping an eye on my blood tests and other
Yeah.
to see how it's going. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing how life can hit you in so many ways.
Yeah.
And then that humor just adds to that resiliency. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Humor and resilience, the direct link. I agree. Yeah.
so I have a question. You wrote a book on college teaching at its best.
Yes.
Okay. What were some of your experiences teaching and how'd you?
I love teaching. I was a professor on the full-time faculty at AU for 14 years, and I loved it. And I wrote a book about it because that's what I do. I write books about things I obsess over. And I love teaching, and I put a lot of effort into it. And I got awards for my teaching excellence and all that stuff. And there's a whole chapter in that book on using humor in teaching. That's how important I think humor is. And I use humor a lot in teaching. And that's about it. It's just that being funny, making students laugh is a critical component in helping them pay attention. And we all know, it's like going to a class and students are falling asleep and on their iPhones. And so being funny, engaging them, bringing them in, getting them to talk, getting them actively involved is so important. And humor is critical to that job of being a good teacher.
I agree. I was teaching music and entertainment students how to start an entertainment business. And every day we started with improv because I said, you're sitting all day long. You're not
Yeah.
sitting here. We're going to get up and move, and
Yeah.
then we'll get into the stuff.
Good for you. Good for you. That's a sign of in my estimation, that's a sign of very good teaching. Get them off their feet. Get them to stand up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
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 Because otherwise they don't even have blood moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I so agree with that. I used to start my classes with a game. I'd bring in 4 or 5 beach balls and throw them out. And I'd say, stand up, everybody, and keep these balls off the ground. And it would just take 2 minutes, but it was enough to get their blood roiling and get their energy up and get their mood raised.
And you were a filmmaking teacher, correct?
I
Professor?
taught film. Yes, I taught filmmaking. Yep. Yeah. I spent 35 years making wildlife films, traveling all over the world, making films on dolphins and whales and so on. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
So where did you find time to be a stand-up comic for 5 years?
When I was a professor, I went to some events and, oh no, my daughter Kim, who's a writer, went to some event and she brought back a flyer and it said on it, here are some classes on becoming a stand-up comic. And she said to me, Dad, you like to be funny. Why don't you take this course? And I said, no, I'm so busy. I don't have time to do that. I left it on my desk and I thought about it and I took the class. And the final class, you had to perform. And I remember my wife and children and went down to this place and I thought it was a stand-up comedy club. Turned out to be it was a gay club. I was so naive. I knew nothing about these things. Anyway, so I performed very badly, but I got the bug and started working on it. And between teaching I was when I made time to come up with jokes, and my humor was very clean, and I wore a tie and a suit. So it was a big contrast with my colleagues who performed in dirty t-shirts and were just a cesspool of profanity and vulgarity. and so I told jokes about my being a father of 3 attractive daughters, beautiful daughters, and being a teacher and teaching and getting old and things like those, things that were on my mind. And I wasn't very good. I never rose to perform regionally or anything like that. After 5 years, I gave it up. But I went on. I give a lot of talks. I give pro bono talks every week, and I use humor a lot in those.
Chris, how do we use humor to design or in relationship to designing our life for success?
I would first say, Katie, that I would encourage people to have a humor notebook and take it with you wherever you go. Wherever I go, I take a little notebook. I never go anywhere to a party, any event without a notebook. And then when you come across something funny, write it down. And don't not write it down, because if you don't write it down that night, you'll think of it. Oh, what was that funny thing? Oh, that made me laugh so much. You won't remember it. So as soon as you see, somebody says something amusing that makes you smile, write it down and then collect those and then keep a folder of things and then begin to use it in talking to people. Never tell set jokes. Never tell the jokes like an Englishman, Irishman into a thing. Avoid them.
Yes,
And shaggy dog stories and puns and dad jokes. Those are all so unfunny, hackneyed. Everyone's heard them before. And whenever
The opinions of Chris Palmer own do not necessarily reflect those of Lifebox or its hosts.
And yeah, if I go to hear a speech and the person starts off with one of these set jokes, oh my God. And the bar has to be so high. If you're gonna tell me a joke like that, it better be funny. Otherwise, you're wasting my time. So the best humor is what we've been doing here, which is just coming out of the environment. It's original. It's right in the moment. It's revolves around comebacks or callbacks or things that somebody has said. And the bar is lower because people, when it's original and right there in the moment, people don't expect it to be funny. And so if you say something even lightly funny, people will smile and laugh because, hey, people love to smile and laugh. Back to your question, Katie, it's such a good question. You asked, what's humor got to do with living a good life? And I think one of the worst insults you can give to people is you don't have a sense of humor. I mean, that is so insulting. And so people think they have a good sense of humor. And the reason they want to have a good sense of humor is because they know it's so pivotal, so fundamental, so foundational to living well. And just a little example here. So we have 17 people in our family, 9 grandkids and son-in-laws and daughters. And so for every birthday in the family, I do and this is the one I did most recently. Here's a picture of it was from my wife, Gail, so celebrating our 49th wedding anniversary. So can you see that? There's a picture of me, Chris, looking old and haggard. There's beautiful, there's Gail. Look, and then underneath, I say, thank you for loving me despite my quirks. And Gail responds, quirks? Is that what we're calling them now? And then we both laugh underneath. So it's nothing, but it's just I do this every member of the family, and it's just a little way of adding something special to the family. After I'm dead, that's one thing they'll remember about me. Oh, Dad used to do these cartoons, and it'll be lovely. They'll laugh about them, and in my grave, I'll laugh about them. And so I think humor, back to a good life, is, oh gosh, so important. So if you've got a good sense of humor, you're likely to have a better life, a richer life, a more fulfilled life, and that will help you die better.
In those terms, my mom's pretty cranky. She's 85 and she's almost been kicked out of her senior center. You have any advice for her? Because she's mean.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry, Katie. That's so
I am
sad.
too. I don't mean to be laughing about it. We find the humor in it, of course, but
but it's sad. And if she were less cantankerous, less rancorous, less ornery, and so on, she would be happier. And I don't know. At 85, it's hard to know what to do. But you might just talk to her very gently and say, "Mom, I think you could be happy if you just friendly, a smile, say good morning to people with a smile. Just give her some gentle advice, because she's not going to change radically at 85. But she might listen to her daughter. So you might say to a friend who can say to her, to somebody else who she does listen to, just ease up a little, just smile, listen more, just fundamental things that we should all learn. So sorry.
Yeah.
That's so sorry.
Oh,
that's sad for you.
I'm
sad
sorry
for
for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's miserable. But we work on when I call, we work on gratitude.
Oh, and that is well done for saying that. That is so important. And I keep a family gratitude journal just for that reason. Wow. And every winter, every Christmas, I give each member of my family a 200 or 300-page book that I've written during the year. Yeah.
Wow.
And but just to your point, if your mom kept a little notebook where she wrote down what she was grateful for, you might give her. Here's what you might do, Kay. You might give her a few dollar notebook. Say, Mom, I want you just to think of things you're grateful for. You had a fried egg for breakfast. That was a nice fried egg. Or someone came and said good morning to me. Anything. In a sense, tinier the better.
Yeah, exactly.
That might.
I opened my eyes today. That's pretty good.
Yeah. That's a good one.
All right. Anyway, Jim Bob, you had another question?
Okay. And I'm just, again, looking at the Venn diagrams overlapping here, but my wife and I are coming up on our 48th anniversary. Yeah. Don't know if there's going to be a 49th.
Congratulations.
I suggested to her that we have everything we need. We're trying to get rid of stuff now. So why don't we just not exchange gifts for this anniversary?
Yeah, good idea.
She's reintroducing me to social distancing.
Nice.
Instead of no gifts, you might try something in between, which is a gift of experiences. You'll take her out for a drink or something, and then she'll take you to the theater or whatever. But something which doesn't accumulate clutter, but which accumulates experiences. But you know all that. You know that better than I do.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know who said this first. I don't know if it was Karen Buxman or Andrew Tarvin said, but in terms of a sense of humor, it's more important to see the funny than to be the funny. Okay. That sense of humor, everybody's got a sense of humor, but
I've been reading this book. Since becoming familiar with AHH, I've been reading this book by Mary Kay Morrison, very good book. And she says that in there. And when I read it, I wrote on the margin, I don't understand that. So
all right, let's explore it then.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Because the situation can be funny in different respects, right? It's like we're each looking through a situation through our own set of lenses and filters there. And a teacher that wants to use humor in the example for classroom, okay, they don't have to tell joke after joke, But what they can do is be aware of the silliness in certain situations and then use it. As an example, I studied chemical engineering, not a lot of laughs in thermodynamics and heat transfer and other things like that. But I had a professor, Dr. Michael Abbott. He was amazing. What he would do was, in the problems that he gave us, if he had to name of a product or something, he'd use a silly name instead of a standard name. Okay. If he was, and I remember this especially in our process design classes, he would give each class, each group of 3 engineers, a memo from their alleged boss describing a situation.
Okay.
And he would have such fun writing these memos.
Yeah. Sounds great.
He would use different dialects in them, and I can't do justice to them.
No.
But it was so unexpected.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have a bunch of engineers, very competitive, and they're talking about a separation process for getting rid of turds and coffee beans. Right. That was one of the more memorable assignments there.
Right.
And he just could have used this right here as a particle of a certain size, but he put it in there. He was also famous for the just the Friday afternoon sessions at the student union, where he'd sit down and he'd just have a pitcher with a clutch, pitcher of beer, and talk about stuff. And he made himself very open and accessible. He was an ivory tower expert.
Right. Oh, he sounds a wonderful person.
He really was just an amazing guy.
But how does that illustrate the see, don't be funny?
Okay, in terms of the seeing there, take anything and ask yourself, what's funny about that? Okay. And then there's what's funny to me about what's funny about that to me. What's funny about that to somebody else? How does it relate? It's a matter of making connections. Humor is all about connections. And when we recognize what we have there, the body has to, or I should say, the brain has to reconcile the differences and resolve itself in humor. Right. Okay. Trying to create. Okay. Do you ever? I used to go to consult and do a lot of tense situations, and I'd love to use humor to diffuse those. Walk into some place where people are do something they didn't expect, and like one of the rules of improv is don't deny reality or yes and then. And so just going in there, accepting, yes, we have a problem, but giving people the hope that we can change it. And so I might start a meeting with a top 10 list. Okay. If you've had a process, we have wastewater treatment plant generating too much sludge and people having trouble doing it. Just have a brainstorming session, 10 things that we can do with excess sludge, and just start playing with them on that and get people laughing at, okay, yeah, we're playing with sludge. We got to, and yeah, it is a problem. It's a very serious problem, but we have to find it. And sometimes by having a little bit of, I'll say, guided humor in it, it can lead to better solutions.
Yeah.
And have people talking to each other.
Yeah.
And an example, this might be I forget the book this came in, but when one of the astronauts was looking at the early design for space toilets, it was in Skylab, and they realized that they're right there. Have that. And so they developed this device, and it relied on a vacuum, had a little fan, a little motor spinning wheel, so it could draw the waste material and collect it properly. And warning to listeners, a naughty word is about to be used. And it was sent out to some astronauts for their review. And one of them wrote back and said, "Gee, this is first time I've ever seen a design where the shit was supposed to hit the fan."
Perfect.
Funny.
So again, you just take the situation, spin it around, go out there, and the humor. And this is another improv principle where you don't try to force the funny; you find the funny.
Yeah.
As you play with the situation, something can come up, and where does it come from? The spark of genius, and it's there. And when it comes up organically and naturally, it's 1,000 times funnier than if someone looked it up in a joke book.
Yeah.
And tried to,
I totally agree. Yeah.
Okay.
And Chris, you held up a book, Maximizing Humor. I don't have it memorized.
This one?
Using humor to maximize living. I will edit that to make that better. Sorry about that. It wasn't right in front of me. So yes, and that tells us that you're in year 1 of the Humor Academy. Is that right?
No. Not
Oh,
yet.
okay.
I bought it because I was in a meeting, an AATH meeting with Mary Kay Morrison the other day,
Yes.
and she mentioned her book, and I immediately wanted to buy it, so I went and I bought it. But
Okay.
I'm reading all kinds of other humor books at the same time. Isn't That Clever by Steve Gimble? The Devil's
Oh,
Dictionary by Ambrose Bierce.
Oh, that's a
This
yes.
is a beautiful book. Abraham Lincoln's Sense of Humor.
Oh,
wow.
The Naked Jape. You know this book, The Naked Jape. These are all
No.
I don't think it
comedy
I didn't-
writing.
Yes.
Nice.
This is a book you probably know, Scott Weems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard of that.
And this one, a philosopher looks at a sense of humor. This is a fascinating book.
Okay.
You know, and the comic tool books is another one. These are just some books I'm reading. Yoga is a book. Anyway, and one of my favorite books, as Isaac Asimov, the sci-fi writer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
He wrote two books like this.
Wow.
So this book is just one. I'm reading all these books at the same time. This is just one book I'm reading. It's very good. But you were going to say something about it, Katie. Sorry. Oh, yes, I'm
Wow.
not yet in the Humor Academy because I haven't taken that action yet. But I might. I might start.
Questions? Can we answer some
No.
questions? I'm in year
Um,
3 and
yeah,
Jim Bob is a CHP. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. So I'm two experts here on it. I don't have any questions at the moment. I'm just wondering whether I have the time because
Yeah.
my schedule is fairly packed. And but I'm thinking of it seriously because I'm thinking to make my project my book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
would
Amazing.
be-
Second year.
But we do have a segue that came up naturally because of all the books you're reading. And I read that you are learning to juggle.
Yeah.
Did you succeed?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I do it every day. And in fact, the Washington Post carried an article about it the other day. Yeah, I'm good. I can juggle easily and very well. And I have a few tricks I've developed for the grandkids. I throw it over my head and catch it behind my back.
Very
Things
nice.
like that.
Very nice.
And I'm now learning an overhead snap. This is where you throw it with your hands down.
Yeah. I'm a juggler.
Oh, you are. So you know all
Yeah.
about it. Okay. Yeah.
I juggle rings, clubs, balls, knives,
Oh my
and
gosh.
random dog toys.
Okay, not random dogs. Yeah.
No.
No, but I have a monkey, I have 6 rubber chickens, and a number of pigs.
You are good. You are way ahead of me, and I commend you for it. Yeah, I started a few years ago and couldn't do it for about a year, but
It takes a while.
It really does, and I practice every day. Only say for a few minutes, but I practice every day, just like I practice handstands every day or playing.
And
the
I'm a
piano
handstand specialist.
Are you?
I went to circus school in Spain.
Oh my God.
And my specialty was hand balancing. So I was the lady doing the handstands on the guy's hands.
Oh my gosh.
And
I can't believe how many ways our lives are intersecting.
I know. It's amazing.
When we meet in person, which I hope will be soon, we'll have a handstand competition. See who can stay up longest.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll edit this out, but I just want to share too. I was the consulate clown in DC for 7 years.
Wow.
From 2010 to 17.
Wow.
All I did full time was clown around embassies and consulates.
I am so impressed. That is a dream that of mine to be a clown that I've never even started down the road to that, and I'm probably too late now. But yes, yeah. That to be a clown to me is like Tenzing climbing Mount Everest. That's
okay. Here's the first step. So I'm going to hand you a nose.
I have those noses nearby. I
Good.
use it to entertain the kids.
Good.
And 2 other things that we have in common. My grandmother is from Bath. Okay.
Your grandmother is from Bath?
Yes, she grew up there. During World War I, she was a nurse. She met my grandfather, who was a soldier from Canada. And they moved to Maine.
I wonder if my parents ever knew them. My parents were very social and knew a ton of people. My father was very high up in the Navy. So I wonder if they might have met. Bath, not a big place, 60,000 people.
Spire family there. And then the other thing, you mentioned being on a plant-based diet. I spent a long time on a plant-based diet. Unfortunately, it was a chemical plant.
Nice.
Okay, so Chris, if someone's trying to reach you, of course, they can go to chrispalmeronline.com. Are there any other ways you recommend if they?
Absolutely. My email address is and you'll put this in the show notes, I know, but it's Christopher, spelled in the normal way, .n.palmer. You know my email address, christopher.n.palmer@gmail.com. So people are welcome to reach me by email. My phone number is 212-716-6160. They're welcome to call me. But the email is probably a very good way. I monitor that carefully, and I don't do much social media, although I got your nice invitation to join you on LinkedIn this morning, Jim Bob, which I said yes to. But I don't do much, social media. I mainly email and in person and
All right.
Zoom.
And do you have gigs of sorts coming up? Can people see you in person?
Yes, yeah, I give a lot of talks, and the best way is to get on my email list. Just write and say, please add me to your email list. I don't send a lot of emails out, but every month or so, I'm 2 months, I send out a note with some funny cartoons, and some humor, and some serious stuff about aging and death and dying, and it's a newsletter. It goes to 600 people at the moment. It's very small, just to friends, really. But if they want it, but there I might say I'm going to be appearing at some. You're welcome to site if it's open to the public. You're welcome to register for it or something. Yeah. So just people can just drop me a note or go to my email address and get on my email list. Happy to do that. Yeah.
Perfect. And what are you most excited about that's coming up for you?
I'm most excited about my new book coming out, Achieving a Good Death. I think it'll do a lot of good. It has some humor. It's a serious book about a serious topic. And then I'm excited about the book I'm writing on humor and laughter. I work on that every day, and it's still got a long way to go, of course, but I'm excited about that. I'm excited about being an end of life activist. I want to encourage people to do their advanced directives, their dementia coders, to talk with their loved ones about how they want to end their lives, things like this. It's all in the book coming out on October the 1st. So those are three big things I'm excited about, and another one is I'm excited about being a grandfather. Every weekend I do a grandpa class with my grandchildren, teaching them about the Civil War and about World War II and about geology, and it's wonderful. They love learning, and I love learning, and there's a lot of humor I use in that, obviously, with grandchildren.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Laugh all the time. So that's another thing I'm excited about, just being a grandfather and continuing on that journey.
Oh, that's amazing. And two people at AATH you've probably talked to about the topic of being a grandparent. Mary Kay Morrison, of course, she has a book on the connection between grandparents and grandchildren.
Oh, I must read that.
And
she's on a book tour right now with that. And then go on, Jim Bob.
Yeah, and great. Roland Thompson has a nonprofit dedicated towards building connections between generations.
Wow, I must find out about that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, okay, this sounds like a plug. Yes, it is a plug. Come to Charlotte next May 1st.
I'm thinking seriously of that. Yeah.
But you get to meet Mary Kay, you should meet Roland. Another guy you need to meet is Mike Kundle, because he's a professor of philosophy, and he's also doing work on the overlap between humor and theology, and humor and purpose.
Yeah.
I just want to be a fly on the wall when you two are having a conversation.
Yes, that's right up my alley. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So now I'm going to ask you the question that I always ask, okay? Because we're the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor, so we want to talk about how to apply humor, make it useful every day. So my question is, on one level, how do you use humor on Thursday? It's just a typical day. And so if someone's going through a rough Thursday, how would you like to complete the sentence? I'll never forget what Chris Palmer told me. He said,
always look at life through a humorous prism. So everything you hear and look at, think, how can that be funny? How could I maneuver that to see the lightness in it, the levity in it, the drollness of it? And so I think that's why having a humor notebook and noting down things that make you smile, keeping a file of funny things that make you smile, being with people who are funny, and making friends with people who are funny, because if you're around funny people, you're more likely to be funny. And then I think paying attention to the great humorists, Jerry Seinfeld, Jay Leno, Mark Twain, and so on, paying attention to the great humorists. Dry bar is something I'd recommend. It's the funny, clean humor and cartoonists like Mike Peters and so on. So there's humor all around us, but you have to search for it. So to answer your question, the one thing that Chris Palmer said that I want to remember would be on the lookout, be an observer of humor because it's everywhere around us in the mundane, the banal, the quotidian. It looks dull, it looks quiescent, it looks comatose, but in fact, just under the surface, it's roiling with humor if we can find it. And I'm a novice at this. I'm giving this advice to myself. I need to do this more. Find the humor in the mundane. Jerry Seinfeld is superlative at doing this. And yeah, so that would be my advice to become an observer of humor that's not obvious.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
That is the way to see the funny and not be the funny.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
This has been so much fun. Let me look at my notes because I think there were some things I was going to say that I haven't had a chance to say. No, it's no big deal. But I was going to say,
yeah, we can bring it in. We can.
I was going to. One of the I serve on a number of nonprofit boards. In fact, 8 of them, and it keeps me very busy, and I love it. Nonprofit boards tend to be rife with tension and stress because you have to make decisions. Are we going to fire or hire the CEO? Are we going to invest our money in fossil fuel companies? And these are stressful discussions. And so I think being able to bring in humor and levity is so important because people are less likely to be cantankerous if they laugh. It's very hard to hold laughter in your head and also be angry. So
chemically, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. So I think if you're in any kind of, I would say to anybody, any kind of leisure positions, and we all are, even if it's just being a mum or a dad or a grandparent, we're all in leisure positions of one type or another. I would say then humor is incredibly important, a way of allaying, alleviating, easing, mitigating tension and stress, which comes up all the time, especially if you serve on nonprofit boards. And then another, I would say also, as a grandparent, humor is so important because grandparents and parents, as someone once said, are natural enemies. And I look at what my daughters do. They're fantastic mothers, but I look at what they do, and I say to myself, that isn't what I would do. Grandparents have to bite their tongue. You cannot criticize. You have no right. You have no standing to criticize them. So one way to ease that stress and tension of seeing them do things which you think are maybe unwise is to use humor to make light of it, make jokes about it. And so I think I would say as a grandparent, humor is a very important tool, if you like. And let's see, I think that maybe I'm just looking over my notes as I was preparing for this. I think I might have covered everything. Yes. I love all your questions, and I just want to say thank you for having me. This has been a delight. And a great pleasure for me, and especially the interview itself, but also a chance to get to know both of you, Katie and Jim Bob. You look like terrific people, and I look forward to meeting you in person. And look forward to working with you. And our lives have intersected in so many funny ways, from prostate cancer to Bath.
Yes. So, yeah, it's been a real pleasure and an honor, Chris Palmer, to chat with us. Thank you so much.
This has been Laughbox, the official podcast of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. I'm Jim Bob Williams.
And I'm Katie B.
And we want to thank our very special guest, Chris Palmer.
Yay!
Chris, delightful conversation, and looking forward to seeing you in the future. And definitely looking forward to that book. Bring it on out.
Thank you both so much. Great to be here.
Thank you so very much.
Laughbox is a production of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. Visit us online at www.aath.org. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Music by Gary Rubio. For more information, www.garyrubiomusic.com.